Hello, folks. Thanks for joining in. We are coming back to Adult Hebrew, and allow me just a moment to bring our text up. Hello, folks. Let me just enlarge this a little bit. Reviewing a few of the slightly more unusual letters. As you recall, this is the chet, makes a ch sound. This is the chaf, makes a ch sound. The final chaf, since it's the last letter of a word, it sounds like ugh. This final chaf is the final version of this. Moving forward, this is the kaf. It's a k, a hard C or a K sound. And this is the samach, one of the two S sounds. V'chefzo, v'chefzo, v'acharei, v'acharei, echad, echad. That's a very important side word. It means the number one, the numeral one, and it is a major term. We use it in many different contexts in Jewish life because, of course, Judaism believes in only one God. There's only one God, one form, and that's the non-form. And that's the major differentiation between Judaism and Christianity. Judaism and Christianity diverge. Christianity, of course, has the Trinitarian view of God. And there are people who present themselves as Jewish. They call themselves Messianic, but that's inaccurate. All Jews would be Messianic in that all Jews believe in one way or another in a Messiah, but there are people who have branded themselves as Messianic, and they take hold of Hebrew layers and layer it upon Christian life. And of course, that's rejection of the principal expressive theological element of Judaism. So you need to know that there are people out there who call themselves Messianic Jews, which is a disservice to Judaism and Christianity. And it's an affront to Jews because all Jews, who of course observe the tradition based upon the Hebrew Bible and Jewish tradition, are in one way or another Messianic. And here we have self-proclaimed Messianic Jews, but they're not. They're Christians just using Hebrew as an overlay for their own purposes. And I think the purpose is to attract Jews. But here we are. And remember also, traditional Jews in Judaism are not evangelistic, whereas those who call themselves Messianic are evangelistic and proselytizing. A major difference. Last word on this line, lahach bira, v'chai, chevli, ruchi, malach, melech, yimloch. You should see the similarity between malach, melech, obviously. Vowels are a little different, not a big deal. Malach, melech, and yimloch. If you obscure the yud, you see the mem, lamed, and chaf, which are similar to mem, lamed, and chaf. So all three words are related. Malach is a verb. He ruled. Melech is a noun, king. Yimloch, future tense verb. He will rule. He will rule as a king. Kichlot, tachlit, kol, hakol, kosi, nisi, umanos, kosi, nisi, umanos, kosi. Adon Olam. Adon Olam is a very important term and concept, and there's also a recent song, poem, prayer known as the Adon Olam. Excuse me. Adon means Lord or Master. Olam means universe. Adon Olam is the Lord of the universe or the Master of the universe. Olam could also refer to infinity or eternity. So Adon Olam could refer to God as being the Lord and the Master of eternity and infinity. Adon Olam. This is a major theme, of course, within Jewish tradition. And as I said, there's a song, a poem, a prayer that became part of our Jewish tradition about 600 or 700 years ago, by Jewish standards, fairly recent. And we'll be doing the Adon Olam in just a minute after we work on a few phrases on this page. So we have a column entitled Rhymes. Nivra, Nikra, those two rhymes. Nivra, reading across. Asher, Malach, Azai, Melech, Shemo, Nikra. Nikra, Levado, Yimloch. Levado, Yimloch. Third line down. Nora, B'terem, that's the tet. B'terem, Kol, Yitzir, Nivra. La'et, Na'asa, V'cheftso, Kol. La'et, Na'asa, V'cheftso, Kol. Third line. V'acharei, Kichlot, Hakol. Reading down the column. Betif Ara, Lahach Bira, V'hamisra, Tsara, Ekra, these two lines here. Vehu Haya, Vehu Hove, there's the O dot. Vav has an E vowel, so since this is the vowel for the hey, ho, the consonant toothpick Vav has to have a vowel, Hove. Vehu, consonant Vav has to have a vowel. It's the Shva. Vehu Yihye, Yihye, reading across. Vehu Haya, Vehu Hove, Vehu Yihye. This line, Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit. Reading down three words. Ekra, Ve'a'ira, Ira. Looking at this first column. Go Ali, Li, Ruchi, Gaviyati, Gaviyati. Reading across the last two lines. Eli, Go Ali, Chevli, Nisi, Manos, Li, Kosi. Bottom line, Ruchi, Ruchi, Gaviyati. That's a hard word. Gaviyati. Remember, the Vav must have a vowel. Since there's no U or O dot, you look for other vowels. Gaviyati, Li. Here, for example, the Vav has an U dot, and so therefore it's Ruchi. Just going down this first column. Shani, Goali, Li, Ruchi, Gaviyati. Second column. Nivra, Nikra, Nora, Batif Ara, Lahach Bira, Vahamisra, Sara, Ekra, Ve'a'ira, Ira. These words that are found in the famous song, poem Adon Olam, and we'll be studying that in just a moment. The Adon Olam is a very well-known piece. Allow me just a moment. Pardon me one more moment. I've lost it for just a moment. Allow me, please. I found it. Excuse me here. This is the Adon Olam. Allow me to enlarge it a little bit. This is a very well-known piece. This was originally written about 600 or 700 years ago to be recited by individuals as they went to sleep at night. From that moment or that context, you might say, of private reflection, the Adon Olam migrated into the prayer book. It first found its way into the prayer book perhaps 500 or 400 years ago as a prayer to be recited every single morning and every single night in private prayer. It became very famous for two reasons. Primarily, the words are very, very simple. Secondly, because it's written in a simple form with almost rhyming words and a certain simple beat, it can take hold of literally almost any melody you can compose. And so because it's simple Hebrew and you can assign or overlay upon the Adon Olam a simple melody, it became very attractive. Many synagogues recite or sing or chant the Adon Olam at the end of every Friday evening service or every Saturday morning service, and also during weekday services. So we'll study the Adon Olam. Because the Hebrew is very simple, often children are called up to the pulpit to lead the congregation in the Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra La'et Na'asa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'achare Kichlot Hakol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hove Vehu Yeh Betif Ara Vehu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Laham Shil Lo Lahach Bira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Velo Ha'oz V'hamisra Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Chevli Ve'et Sarah Vehu Nisi Umanos Li Menat Kosi Biyom Ekra Biyado Avkid Ruchi Ve'et Ishan Va'ira Ve'im Ruchi Gaviyati Adonai Li Velo Ira. Once more reading, and then I want to explain a little bit of the beauty and the intensity of the Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra La'et Na'asa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'achare Kichlot Hakol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hove Vehu Yeh Betif Ara Vehu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Lahamshil Lo Lahach Bira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Velo Ha'oz V'hamisra Vehu Eli v'chai goali, v'tzur chevli be'et tsara, v'hu nisi umanos li, menat kosi biyom ekra, biyado avkid ruchi be'et ishan va'aira, ve'im ruchi geviyati arnai li v'lo ira. The Adolam, as I see it, is comprised of two main sections, two portions. The first section is Adon Olam Le Nasa B'Acharei Kichlot V'Hu Haya V'Hu Echad B'Li Reshit. These stanzas. Quick translation. The Lord of everything, who ruled before everything was created. There's a time that God made everything, and God all is named the King. And after everything is all concluded, only God alone will rule in awe. God was and is and always be God in glory. God is the only one. There is no second, and God rules without beginning, without end. God has ultimate strength and authority. That's the first two-thirds, you might say. So it's talking about the enormity of God, the vastness of God, the supremacy of God, the ultimate of God, spanning the universe and beyond. And now let's look at the last little bit, the last four lines, last two stanzas. V'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chevli be'et tsara v'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi biyom ekra. Literally, God is my God and the redeemer of my life and the support of me in times of trouble. God is my banner and my refuge. God is likened to a cup of deliverance for me anytime I call. In God's own hand, I place my spirit at the time of awakening and beginning to sleep. And if and when my spirit departs, God is mine and I will not be afraid. So this last third speaks of God in a very personal and intimate way, a very powerful and private, collective, connective way, you might say, with the first two lines speaking about God's being available and close in time of crisis or trouble. The third line down, Biyado Avkid Ruchi, is an awareness that during morning and evening and all the hours in between, my life is in the hands of God. And when I awaken, I'm aware of that. And as I lay myself to go to sleep, I'm aware of that. And it's this line that gives us the indication as to how the poet, again, about 600 to 700 years ago, saw the purpose of this prayer to start off talking about God as the grandest beyond everything, but also God is right here. And as I mentioned before, the Adon was said by the individual going to sleep at night in the privacy of his own thoughts. And it was paired with the Shema. The Shema is, of course, the ultimate Jewish statement of identity. And the last line here touches on humility and awareness, that life is terminal and we all die. And at some point, when we die, we see ourselves as Jews as being supported by God's presence. God is mine, and I won't be afraid. You can see the contrast between the opening three stanzas and the concluding two stanzas, the grandeur and the enormity in the first three stanzas, and the private, personal reflection in the last two stanzas. So that's Adon Olam. And as I said, there are many different melodies. I'm going to share one quick melody of my own, which many people are familiar with. When I was growing up, we called it the echo. It goes like this. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra. Liet Nasa, V'chetzakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Adon Olam, V'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Lavado Yimloch Nara, Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh B'tifara, Adon Olam. And then again, whoever is leading would start off, and the congregation or other people would echo. Adon olam, asher molach, b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, liet nasa, v'chetz kol, azai melech shemo nikra, Adon olam, and then we can continue. V'hu echad v'yein sheni, laham shelo lahachbira Adon olam, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol, yitzir nivra, liet nasa, v'chetz kol, azai melech shemo nikra Adon olam. I'm going to stop singing now, and you can go to YouTube and find any one of dozens of melodies. I wish to share with you just a few of my favorites, but literally you can do Adon Olam to any simple melody because it's a stick of 4 words with a simple rhythm, simple beat. So allow me just a moment. Here's one.
Adon Olam by Gerovich. Adon Olam asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, liet nasa b'chefzo kol, azai melech shemo nikra, v'acharei kichlot hakol, Levado imloch nora, vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh b'tifara, vehu echad, ve'en sheni, lehamshilo lehachbira, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, V'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'hu eli v'chai go'ali, v'tzurachev li b'tzara, v'hu nisi u'manos li, minat kosi b'yom ekra b'yado, afkid ruchi, Bet Ishan ve'aira, v'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira.
So that's one. Allow me another one because this is fun. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my all-time favorites. This is a group of cantors and rabbis who also serve in the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF.
אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נסע בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נסע בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא עובד והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אחד, ואין שני, לים שילוח, להבחירה, ולי ראשית, ולי תכלית, ולא העוז ועם ישראל, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אלי, וחי גורלי, בצור חבלי, בצרה, והוא ניסי, ומה נוספי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא.
Hope you enjoyed that. All you need to do is just go to YouTube, Google, search Adon Olam, typically spelled Adon Olam. And as I said, it's important for us Jews to teach our fellow Jews some of the basics of Jewish tradition, Jewish thought, Jewish ideology. And in the event that you come across people who masquerade as Jews, calling themselves Messianic, they're doing you a disservice. And if you have any questions about what it really means to be an authentic Jew, just contact a traditional rabbi. Of course, you contact me if you know me by now. Consider contacting any traditional conservative, reform, or perhaps Orthodox rabbi if that is your orientation. Feel free. And recognize that Jewish tradition emerges from thousands of years ago, and Jewish people in a variety of ways and manners continue to express honor and glory to and of God. And one of the ways is by following along in synagogue prayer or establishing your own mode of Jewish prayer. Lead you out until we see each other next time. Shalom for now.